City Jazz Sessions is about great music, arts, and entertainment. We are located in St. Louis, Missouri, and available to performance art lovers worldwide. Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. You can email us at cityjazzsessions@gmail.com.
Hey, I am Laka with City Jazz Sessions, accompanied by our co-host Leon, and we have Ryan Marquez in the building or on the Zoom today.
Yes.
So, Ryan, I met you just by happenstance on Sunday.
Yes.
At Lamar Harris's practice. So we are going to be doing a little bit of performing tomorrow. So I'm just so excited to talk about your upcoming CD and what you're doing. You're a really accomplished musician. So just start off by telling us a little bit about yourself and some of your accomplishments, because I just reading your story, I was just surprised. I didn't know all of that about you, all that you've done. So go ahead and tell the people a little bit about you.
Sure. I am primarily a keyboard player, pianist, organist, songwriter, producer, vocalist. I like to just call myself creative. I really enjoy jazz, pop, and hip hop music. My sound of the music that I create really falls into where those genres meet each other. And so I just love music of all styles and all types. And I grew up originally in Kansas City, Missouri, and moved here to come to St. Louis to study at Webster University and to check out the jazz scene and marinate in the great traditions of the Mississippi River, the gospel and the blues. And so I have traveled the Missouri to the Mississippi, kind of like jazz Mecca, Kansas City and St. Louis being such prolific and influential cities to the art of jazz and tradition and the culture of the great narrative that is jazz. And this new record that I'm working on is really a collaborative jazz pop record, and we're calling it Saint Unity.
And I love that name. And we're so excited to talk about that and all of the artists that you kind of put together and how you picked them. But the Saint Unity, and also I love that name and what that means, what that stands for, but also your tag on Instagram, Conscious Keys. Like, what's that all about? Tell us a little bit more, like what that means to you and what it means to present yourself in that way.
Well, yeah, I think conscious is a word to me that means just intentional and purposeful. So thinking just about utilizing the medium of social media, or music, or whatever type of art or communication that you have, but doing so in a way that is intentional and purposeful and resonant to the type of energy that you wish to be and receive in the world. So Conscious Keys, to me, it's just keys is what I do. I like to look for the love and the light and the positive vibes in everything, and acknowledge the whole experience for the beautiful nature of the duality that it is, but to recognize that the light penetrates all darkness. So I gotta align with the idea that consciousness and intention and purpose is a good beneficial perspective.
Absolutely. And that's just a great reminder to see that every day in your name and in your handle. And I can kind of see having that as a theme in your life transferred over to the album with some of the artists that you picked. I love that you picked all female artists, vocalists,
Yes.
for the album. And of course, we know Anita, everyone knows her. She's such a legend.
Anita Jackson is very much a master storyteller.
Absolutely. Just a great artist and a great person that we love, very, very well known in St. Louis. Tell us about some of the other artists that, vocalists that you have on the album and what kind of went behind picking each one.
Yes, so we have fabulous vocalists, as you mentioned. We have Erin Bodie, we have Chrissy Rinnick, we have Lola Christine, Paige Alyssa, and Miss Janet Evra. And, you know, each one of them is so special and unique in their own right and prolific, and they all lead bands of their own. And, you know, it was really just like, honestly, I went through this phase a few years back, where I just went on an intentional diet of digesting music that had female voice as the lead. So through that process, it just like, I learned about like a lot of really cool bands, you know, like before people knew who Moonchild was, I was digging on the Moonchild and the Fertile Ground, you know, the Hiatus Coyote kind of vibes, like just looking for that next thing, you know, that that feeling that just, you know how when you hear a song and you're just like, oh, this is going to be one of my favorite songs forever.
Right.
So thinking about that, marinating in a season of just really wanting to consume content with female voices in the lead, it inspired me to go ahead and reach out to really, like, you know, genuinely artists that I'm a fan of. And, you know, St. Louis is so prolific. There's no way I could have fit every artist that I wanted to work on with one record, you know, and I'm working on a lot of other projects and things too that I have intentions of, you know, continuing to collaborate with our great community here. But with this record, it was really just proximity, you know, and people who picked the phone up and said yes, you know, and it's just been a blessing to really be able to cultivate and marinate in this scene for, you know, a decade and a half now, and just be able to have a musical family. And, you know, Saint Unity is really, that's really what it is. It's pulling together my musical family, a portion of my musical family, because, you know, I got a big musical family in St. Louis. You know, we're all family here.
Absolutely.
That's what's so cool about it, you know?
Yeah, and it's a small, I mean, once you really get in it, it's a pretty small community. It's big, but everybody does seem to know each other.
Yes, and we all got a history with each other, and everybody's got stories, and, you know, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful, like, learning environment, and there's a lot of people in town that are incredibly supportive, you know, and it's just, it's beautiful. I love St. Louis.
Absolutely. So Leon is our co-host. I want to make sure he gets a chance to ask some questions.
Oh, okay.
Come on, Leon.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I don't know if you remember, we interviewed you 3 years ago.
I remember. Yes.
Yeah,
I do remember. I brought the keyboard and played some tunes.
Absolutely, absolutely. So at that time, so take me through. From there to here. What has transpired? How did you get from? Because I'm looking at your website, and you are moving and shaking, man.
I'm just trying to stay in the game, you know, with everything that's transpired in our world, you know, with the different changes and such. Last year through Renaissance, it really just inspired a whole wealth of creativity and inspiration. And I spent like most of my days just living my dream of being able to record every day and focus on the music and send projects like through the mail, like you know, like, hey, Tim, throw some drums on this, like, hey, Theo, play some bass on this, like, you know. So it was like really since that time, you know, I think I had just put out my first jazz trio record with Steve Davis and Ben Wheeler called Moving Forward in Time. And so since then, I've, you know, put out 2 other trio records, Cosmic Perspective, which features 8 of my original tunes. And I did a cover of Stevie Wonder's Another Star. And I did also Stellar by Incubus on that record. And then, I recently put out another trio record at the end of last year. Last year's releases kind of got lost in the shuffle because wasn't able to really play out as much or promote as much. But I did put a trio record out last year called It's About Jam Time. And that's with Steve Davis and Ben Cohen. And we covered like, I kind of like to call it like, kind of like the flower power music, or it's kind of like we did some classics we did some Beatles, we did like we did I Love You More Today Than Yesterday kind of vibe, that, you know, nice. 60s kind of vibes. So yeah, I've just been producing records and playing on records, and I put a pop record out last year called I Am Ram that was like my kind of first featured vocalist release. And I've just been writing and recording and just honestly just trying to continue to stay moving forward.
So a lot of musicians, when they really start to, I don't know, get rolling a little bit, they kind of run away from St. Louis, or they run away from the Midwest. But you seem to, you know, make this your home, and you're intent upon developing your skills here. You know, tell me about that decision.
Yeah, well, you know, the coolest thing, kind of like we were talking about St. Louis, is that it is like a small, big town, you know? So access to resources, access to community, like, I think there's something to be said for the culture that exists that's not like we didn't create it, like it's been going on for hundreds of years, you know, and the story and the musicians here, like the people who you get a chance, you know, like the Willie Aikens, you know, or Roland Johnson or Ken Massey, you know, the people who you would come into contact with who've got a wealth of experience and flavor and marination in the narrative of being part of the history of jazz, you know? So I think like when we think about places like New York, when we think about places like California, we think about these places that have been popped off and they got infrastructure out the wazoo. They're already built out, right? But like you said, what do they always do? They always cherry pick from where? Missouri, right? Kansas City and St. Louis, like that's where the cats are. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think with the new world kind of developing in a situation where, you know, doing business over line via Zoom, you know, it's just a lot easier to connect. It's not so much based on your geolocation as much as it is based on the network. Like where's your location of network at, you know? And then honestly, like if you want to live in the center of the country and be able to get to the coasts, you know, if you got business in New York, you got business in LA, it's like, boom, St. Louis. Oh, another great thing about St. Louis is like everything is kind of free. Oh, like, you know, like there's not a lot of traffic. Parking's kind of like, it, you know, to us, we'd be like, $20. But then you go to like California and you're like, yeah, it'll be $60 to park here tonight. Like, what?
Right.
You know? So we do got it pretty sweet here. And also, like, in terms of like, if you go to somewhere where the market is saturated, like in California or New York, there's a lot of people there who are giving their best effort to make it or to be seen, you know? But, you know, with all the people who are going to make it kind of filter out to be seen, there's a lot of people to cut through. There's like a lot of people who are just kind of maybe holding up space because they just got the right network to be there. You know, that's totally cool. But in St. Louis, it's like, you know, we all work together and we're all in a way where it's like iron sharpening iron, diamonds cutting diamonds. Like we've all played with each other in a really, like not small, because, you know, there's like hundreds of us or so. There's like a couple hundred of us or so, you know, but it's like we've just marinated all together for like decades, you know what I'm saying? And now everybody, I feel like in the scene is kind of getting to a place where they're getting their stuff nice, they're packaged together, you know, the presentation. We've always had the music, we've always had the best players. We just haven't had the education to understand how to present ourselves or how to get the industry to come through St. Louis versus like let them snatch up everybody who's here, you know?
Right. And I like that about networking. Like people ask me how I get gigs and if I have a manager and things like that. And for me, a lot of it is just networking, you know, getting to know people. Those people recommend you for other gigs or other opportunities. And yeah, so that's, and just recently I've just started really connecting more with other musicians and getting out a bit more out of my own little world. But
yeah,
so
I see you out there. You're doing lots of stuff.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Fun. Yeah. So what, as far as like networking and the marketing and things like that, you said you were kind of learning, or a lot of people are at this stage on how to get stuff out. What do you feel like you're learning in that? And I've seen some of your promotions for St. Unity on TV, the interview that you did with that. Tell me a little bit more of like what have you learned about how to present yourself or market and things like that?
Yeah, sure. Well, I think like in terms of just concept and idea, you know, it's building a world or building it's like, because your music is like, it's weird because it's art, but it's also business, you know what I'm saying? So it's like you're talking to me as an artist who doesn't want to talk about money and business and marketing and stuff, but then you're also talking to me as like, well, I do want my art to be connected with people, and there's a level of business savvy that's necessary. Right. So I feel like wearing different hats is a strategy that I use a lot. So with my business hat on, I would say teaming up with people, you gotta have a team. You know what I'm saying? So it's like what you see with my name on it is not just me. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people that have contributed resources and who have contributed time and who've, you know, who've put a lot into the process of St. Unity. So it's really like conceptually, one, you got to have like a product or something that you believe in, something that is has a story, you know. And for me, it was like, it's like you try not to manufacture the magic too much, but you just try to ripen the conditions and then get the right people in the right places, and then let the magic happen. So. Yeah. So I was able to team up last year with Lowtown Records, with Lenny Mink, and Lenny has a really great sense of business savvy and is a prolific kind of artist and filmmaker, musician himself. So we've worked a lot together, you know, developing the different contents, promo, video, things like that, you know, contacts in media and things like that. Like you were saying, like networking, it's like crazy because sometimes the net places you got to network as a musician, like you might be thinking like, oh, I got to go to this show, or I got to go to this gig, or let me meet these musicians. But that's like level one. You know what I'm saying? Like you really got to meet the people in the suits and the ties whose name are like councilmen and aldermen and congressmen. You know what I'm saying? Like that's where you know, and it's like understanding that it's like when you're an artist, you're like a business person, you're like kind of a politician, you're like a marketing person, a PR person, you know, you got to wear all these different hats, you know.
I totally get that. And then I also saw another interview that you did, and you talked about working with Carl Napa.
Yes, Carl is the man. Carl signed on as producer for the project, and he worked for a long time at this place called the Hit Factory in New York, and he's got all kinds of engineer and production credits. Like I think the first one on his like the one that jumped out at me was like he's got credits on the History album, Michael Jackson, and he's got credits with like he was on he worked on the engineer for like Prime Night's Anytime and Mariah Carey, and like literally it's like you say anybody's name and Carl's like, oh, you know, he got a story. And so Carl's like worked with Nelly a bunch, and so he came to St. Louis to work at the Extreme Institute, to head the Extreme Institute, and built a fabulous program there, an incredible studio that unfortunately, you know, some stuff with Vatterott College or whatever that was back in the school, like school ended up closing, but Carl loves St. Louis, and so he's sticking around. Now he's teaching out at Webster University, and just being able to sit next to him through every step of the process, and as a producer and as an artist, to have a level of separation, you know, because there's the artist in me who wants to, you know, like I just want to be the artist, but then there's the producer in me that's like, yeah, but I'm on the, you know, I got the producer thing going too. You know what I'm saying? So, but then Carl, you know, Carl was able to like, I learned a lot from Carl, just like, you know, there's a lot of Napa magic on the Saint Unity record that I can't wait for everybody to hear.
Right. So you have one single out right now.
Yeah, Serenity with Anita Jackson and Dawn Weber.
Go ahead.
All you, Leon.
Oh, so the album drops on September the 4th.
Yes, actually, it's going to drop on September the 3rd. It'll be available like digitally, but then on September 4th, we're having a album celebration party at the Blue Strawberry. And that night is going to feature Lola Christine's going to be in town. We're going to have Anita Jackson in the room. There'll probably be some other special guests who make their way in. And it's just going to be an intimate performance of the record. And I'm super stoked about it.
Now, is that going to be open to the public?
That's open to the public, yeah. The tickets will be available at the Blue Strawberry, STL, I think, .com.
Yeah.
Blue Strawberry, this website, you can find them really easy by Googling them. And they got the tickets on there. It'll be up very shortly. This is the official announcement of it. You guys heard it here.
Yes.
City Jazz.
So I heard Lola singing a song, the Serenity song, live, I think at a performance that you guys had.
Yes.
So how did you, I'm just curious for how you chose which vocalist to sing which song? Like how did you go through that process?
Well, okay, so there's head and there's heart, right? And so my head tends to think one thing and I'll put that down on paper, but then I just live with what I wrote, you know? And then my heart, I just kind of use that as a guide. And then as maybe a conversation, or maybe I see somebody perform, or, you know, or maybe I catch a vibe and I'm like, oh, this would be great for this person or that. So in that process, like there were some songs that when I wrote it, like for example, When You Love Somebody, from the second I heard that song in my head, I knew Chrissy Brennan had to be the person to sing that song, because I wrote that song for her voice, like with her singing it in mind, you know? And then like, you know, same kind of thing with Fountain of Youth with Lola. Like Lola and I have been playing together pretty regularly since about October 2018 as Lola Christine and the Ryan Marquez trio. And so through that process, you know, we've been able to do a bunch of shows here. We've played out in LA, up and down the coast. And we just really had a chance to get to know each other's songbook, and then have also like arranged a lot of things for each other, with each other. And so Lola really was like test pilot for a lot of the songs that hadn't been fully written by the time it was decided, like, okay, this project is a thing now. It's got legs, like it's gonna happen. We got Lowtown Records, we got Carl Napa, like you know, I got 10 more and Theo Harden ready to go on the thing, you know, but like up until that point, like Lola had been singing a lot of the songs like in kind of in those sets. But then obviously, you know, there were some songs that were written that I had that we didn't do, that I was like, you know, this has got to be, and then Janet Everett actually wrote the lyrics to Freedom's Theme. So it was like, kind of like, she was like, I was like, we should write something together. And she was like, yeah, you got anything you want to put lyrics to? And then I was like, oh, what about this? Could you hear lyrics to that? And then, you know, some long time went past when we had that initial conversation and exchange. And then when this project came down the line, I was like, hey, I'm doing this project. Remember that thing I sent you? And then like a day later, it was like, hey, check this out. I've been working on this. So it's just like kind of trusting the heart and, you know, using the head as a guide, but ultimately using the heart as the measuring tool.
Nice. Any upcoming performances besides tomorrow?
Oh, let's see. Man, that's a great question. Yes, that is a great question. On July 14th, it's a Wednesday, I'm going to be with my trio at Clayton Parties in the Park.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, so you'll definitely want to come check that out. It's a party in the park, so, you know, it's free. There'll be food, there'll be drinks. We'll be rocking some of our favorite reharms. I've been super into reharmonizing, I should say, 90s alternative.
Very cool. Yeah, Parties in the Park in Shaw Park.
Yes.
Awesome.
So I've seen some of so you did some covers.
Some covers, yes.
Yeah, you've done some covers, and they were really good. They were really good. Do you enjoy doing the covers, or is it you kind of do that to kind of pay the bills too?
Well, yes, to all that. Really, truthfully, I think about my favorite artists, you know, like personally, one of the main reasons why I got into music is because of Ray Charles. And Ray Charles, he covered so much great music that I never would have known if he didn't cover it, you know. There's so much old country and Western music that I learned from listening to his catalog because he covered it. And so I do think there's a benefit in sharing the narrative of music, especially if it's inspired. You know, we definitely, as musicians, all been in a situation where it's like, we're just playing covers because we're trying to pay the bills, because they got this money and they want these songs. Okay, that's cool. That's a level of making it. But then it's like the level that you want to, that I want to present as an artist is I always want to strive. And even when I'm playing cover gigs, like even when I'm getting paid to wear the suit and tie, I gotta do it my way. You know what I'm saying? Like if you hire Ryan Marquez, like you're getting the Ryan Marquez way. If you want it a different way, get the different person. It's all good. It's no problem. So I just think about the covers that truly at this point when I'm presenting covers as an artist, I really only present the covers that personally speak to me and they choose me. I don't choose them. They haunt me and they're like, hey, listen, like I keep popping up randomly at this department store. Oh, now I'm on the radio. It's like, oh man, okay, wait, maybe I can hear something for that. Okay, wait, hold on, let me see. Okay, next thing I know, I'm, hands deep in a chart and I'm like, oh, I could make a whole project out of this. Like, whoa, take a step back.
So I see some of your art in the back. I'm assuming that.
Oh yeah, that's mine. Yeah, I made a little art.
So I wanna yes, I love it. I want to talk a little bit about your art and
Sure.
What you do with that, what you want to do with that, any like aspirations for delving more into getting your artwork out there.
Sure, I love art, like painting. I found it later, like recently in my life, like about, let's see, 5 or 6 years ago, I started getting really dedicated into just carving out a space and having fun with it. See, music to me as a creative art, sometimes like I felt blocked because I was using my creative skill sets to procure an income. And that was like kind of displacing some of my creative energy. There was like nowhere for it to go. And so I was like not able to like create things that I liked because I was too attached to my idea of what it should be. But then once I decided that I think it was like around my Saturn return on my 28th birthday, I had this inclination or kind of like just vision, I guess. And it was like, hey, maybe I want to do painting now. I was like, I don't know anything about painting. It's like, okay, so what? Let's try it. So on my 28th birthday, I decided I wanted to spend my birthday on top of the sunrise on top of Cahokia Mountains and try to paint a sunset. So that was the start of kind of like the renaissance of painting again. And so then I just dedicated, I've gone through intense times where it was like, okay, I'm putting at least an hour in every day for like months at a time. And then sometimes, now creative. Anyways, long story short, the painting relationship for me was I have no expectations. I have no motives. I don't want to think about this as an income or a job or a hobby. I just want to do it and have fun. I don't want somebody to tell me what to do. I don't want somebody to tell me if I'm doing it right or if I'm doing it wrong. I just want to take this paint and this tube and put it on that canvas. And whatever happens, it's fun. It's like a meditation for me. It's like a lesson in non-attachment. It's like, I did this thing. I really liked it. Maybe I should do more. I did this. I messed it up. Oh my gosh, it's ruined now forever. I want to go back. You can't. Lesson learned, So it's like being able to sit with that feeling and have those thoughts and to try to focus on quieting that inner voice so that I can just be in the flow and create. And that helped open up this whole new side of creativity and non-attachment in music to where I realized that I was like in my own way a lot in music. And then once I busted that open in art because I just didn't care, then I adopted that same mentality in certain aspects in relationship to music. And so when you see my artwork, what you really see is my anxiety, my disappointment, my worries, my fears, my happy thoughts, my excitement, my, intentions. It's just really like my meditations. And at the end of it, they look like things and I call them done. And then people say they like it, and some people have asked to purchase them, and some people have asked to put them in their spaces or for sale. So I kind of just am trusting the process. Like, my artwork is absolutely negotiably for sale, you know? I'm an artist, you know?
Right.
And I also just want to share, you know, it's fun to share that in that kind of way, besides just this kind of way too. So
Absolutely. And it sounds like it's about being vulnerable too, you know, how you're kind of just putting it all out there, and whatever happens, happens. So,
yeah.
All right. So, Leon, any other questions?
Yeah. So where do you, if someone wanted to enjoy your art, is there some place that they can go other than your house?
Ooh, that's a really good question. Well, right now I would say the majority of my artwork lives on Instagram as pictures. So if you go to Instagram and check out @ConsciousKeys, you can see I've probably posted, you know, hundreds of pictures of my artwork there. I also have some available if you go to lowtownrecords.com. They have some of my artwork and prints available there to purchase and to view, as well as, let's see, on my website, ryanmarquez.com, very soon there's going to be an art page, but I've just revamped my whole website. So it's got like my new videos. It kind of, you know, takes it kind of digests, makes it my creative world is like, sometimes when people are like, you're doing so much, we don't know what you're doing. But if you check out my website, I'll put it all there. Yeah.
So one of the things that I think of people who have a vision, they have some place that they want to get to. Your development of your using your art, is that organic? Do you have some places that you'd really like to play? Do you want to do, you know, Madison Square Garden in New York? You know what I'm saying?
Sure thing.
Yeah. So do you have some place that?
Yeah. No, yes to all the above. Like, if the call is to play Madison Square Garden or a Super Bowl halftime show, you know what I'm saying? Or the Grammys, or, you know, the music awards, yes to all that. That's not why I do what I do, but absolutely, is that a part of, you know, the dream, or is that part of something that I would aspire to obtain? Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and say that I wouldn't like that and I wouldn't want that, and I'm not putting my best efforts towards that. But that's not why I make music, and that's not my ultimate goal. Why I make music is because music is a language, and there's power and there's healing in music, and it's a beneficial experience for both the creator and the, you know, person experiencing it. So I just want to be a part of the narrative of music, because music is intangible, and music transcends boundaries. It transcends worlds. It exists in a place that no one can touch. And that, to me, is more fascinating than anything in the whole world. You know, so it's like just being in a relationship with that, and having the ability to create content, and knowing that it's not about where you start, or it's not even about where your life finishes, right? Because it's about the music, because music transcends boundaries as death, you know? So it's like, if we live in a world where there's a lot of ability to create content, then it's only natural that it's going to take time for that to present itself. So I just feel like I'm just trying to make as much music as I can while there's still breath in my body. And I will always do that. That's just how I'm wired, because I'm like addicted to writing songs. I'm addicted to being in bands. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want to see music. I want to hear music. I want to curate music. I want to do all of it. Like, so I'm just, I have aspirations. Of course, I would love to win the Grammys. You know, of course, I would love to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and have a star on Del Mar. You know what I'm saying? On Hollywood Boulevard. Like, of course, I would love a statue on Grand Center. You know what I'm saying? But come on, it's like not get too far ahead of ourselves. Like, first things first is, I just care about the music, and I just care about the relationships that the music creates internally with the band and with the people connected to the project, and then that love and that energy shared with the participants, aka the audience or the customers, the clients, whatever you want to call them, participants. It's like, come to the Saint Unity world, be on the team, you know what I mean? Like, it's not about us, it's about us, like all of us, you know?
Okay.
I love that.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I just said I love that.
I have a couple of questions, and then my bucket is. So, you're talking to yourself 10 years ago. What do you tell yourself?
Invest in Bitcoin. Put like $1,000 on it, and you're gonna be good. You'll be fine.
Excellent. Okay. Yeah. So you're talking to someone else who's coming up in the business, who's, you know, maybe struggling or just haven't had a following yet. You know, what do you tell them?
I would say that the main thing you want to remember is why you do what you do, and never lose sense of that. So there's a lot of steps in the process of creating a brand, which it's like, if you're a musician on any level, you're a brand, whether you create a logo for it and make a website or not. When your face is on a stage, or when you're interacting with the community on behalf of something that you do, like a service, so it's like you're a brand, even if you're just one person. So it's understanding how to approach what you do as an art and as a business, and then where those two things intersect. So I would say, if you're trying to make a splash in the game, recognize why you got in the game. Why are you in the game? Like, why do you want to do this? If your answer is anything but, I want to do this because music is my everything. Music is my morning, it's my afternoon, it's my night. Like, this is who I am. I express this way. I identify this way. I'm in it to win it. Nothing's ever going to knock me off. You know what I'm saying? That's like the type of juice it takes, because the game is going to knock you down. It's going to take your breath. It's going to make you want to quit. It's going to cause you to sacrifice things you don't want to give up. It's going to challenge you to do better. It's going to change you in a way that you cannot understand on the front end. You will only understand on the back end, when you have to sit with the consequences of your actions, understanding that in order to get to where you want to go, it requires discipline, and it requires sacrifice, and it requires a type of energy that you got to create on a daily basis and maintain. And you can't look for somebody else to give it to you. You can't wait for your phone to ring to get excited, you know? And it's like building that motor, that's level one. Like, you got to have that. If you don't have that, then the chances are very good that you can still have a great relationship with music. You can still perform, you can still do things in the art form, but the music business side of it, the industry side of it, if you don't have somebody else who's gonna do it for you, and be very careful and people who say they're gonna do things for you and they know stuff about music business, you know, because you really, as the artist, you want to know everything. You want to know all aspects of the business. You want to be able to talk to the booking agents. You want to be able to talk to the producers. You want to be able to talk to the band. You want to be able to talk to the PR people. You want to be able to talk to the marketing person, to the graphic designer, to the videographer. You know, there's all these different people whose language you have to learn how to speak. So it's a game that has to be played all the time, even if it's like on a subconscious level, you're learning everything that you're consuming, every experience that you have to look at it through the eyes of the artist, through the eyes of the musician, through the eyes of the songwriter, through the eyes of the poet, through the eyes of the creative, and understand how that experience is affecting your world. And if you're not in a place as an artist or creative where you feel inspired or motivated, or you have access to resources, or you feel support, then if that's what you feel called to do and you have that fire inside and that belief, then you gotta just change your reality. You gotta just start macheteing things out of your life, you know what I'm saying? And making decisions and changes that are in the direction to where you want to go, and recognize that it's not going to come in one day. It's not going to come in 1 week. It's not going to come in a month. It's not going to come in 6 months. It's not going to come in a year. It's not going to come in 5 years. It's not going to come in 10 years. It's not going to come in 15 years. You might even die and it might not come.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I'm saying? That's how you got to be. It's just the truth. You know what I'm saying? If you're okay with that you're in it because you love it and you don't have this expectation to be somebody or to get somewhere. Yeah, that's not why you do it. If that's why you're in it to do it, then you will probably find some level of disappointment, because the creator and the universe tends to bring us what we need versus what we want. But when what we want is aligned with what we need, you know what I'm saying? Where the world's greatest need aligns with our greatest passion, that's where you get what you want all the time. That's where the resources come in abundance. But it takes a minute to understand where your passion and where your gifts and where your talents are best purposed for what the world, what the reality needs. You know what I'm saying? And please be a superhero and not a villain.
Very, very well said.
I could talk all day.
You could. Yeah, I mean, but you're right. It takes a lot of grit, you know.
You have to be careful what you say, because we got a lot of tape.
Hey, you know, it's all good. I stand behind what I say, you know. It's important, I think, to share as a musician, you know. It's like important to be truthful, you know what I mean? Like to be honest and to share open information, because in our industry, there's sometimes can be a tendency to like compete, but the game isn't really against each other. The game is against ourselves, you know? So it's like, I'm not better than anybody else. Like I had plenty of mentors and teachers who told me things. I got no magic secrets, you know what I'm saying? I read books and stuff, but it's like people told me, hey, you should read this book, you know what I'm saying? Or hey, you should ask this question. These are the questions you should be asking. Or hey, you should stop doing this, that, or the other thing and do this, that, and the thing. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, sometimes, like, what was it? Charlie Parker, he went up into Kansas City one time playing on some nonsense, on some rhythm changes, and got a cymbal thrown at him. You know what I'm saying? And that's where I come from. I come from Kansas City, where it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not you're like, we're cutting you, or it's not like you're getting cut. It's not like we're saying something in constructive criticism to you to make you feel bad or to make you feel less than. You know what I'm saying? We're saying it in a way where it's like, no, there's like there's a level of understanding that's necessary to speak the language, and there's a certain level of homework that has to be done. You know what I'm saying? We all get put in our places. We've all been embarrassed. We've all been called out. We've all been made to feel about this small. You know what I'm saying? And if Herbie Hancock was sitting on the piano bench next to me, I'd be like, you know what I'm saying? But I'd still be like, okay, but I do know a couple things. You know?
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But we really appreciate your authenticity and what you stand for and what you're doing in the music community and for St. Louis as well. So where do you want people to go after this interview to follow you, to get your music? What's the next steps from here? Yeah,
I would love if people could stay connected with me through my website at ryanmarquez.com, on Instagram at Conscious Keys. If you want to learn more about the record and Lowtown Records, you can check out lowtownrecords.com. And there's Saint Unity merchandise on the lowtownrecords.com website, as well as some of my artwork. And I would say, if you want to connect with me, I'm mostly on Instagram. Like I probably, update that pretty regularly and am pretty engaged on that. So
Conscious Keys.
At Conscious Keys.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you so much. It was so great to have you on.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you both. It's been really great. I love City Jazz.
City Jazz Sessions is about great music, arts, and entertainment. We are located in St. Louis, Missouri, and available to performance art lovers worldwide. Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. You can email us at cityjazzsessions@gmail.com.